Hello, everyone, and welcome to our first Auclio webinar. I'm Helena, Product Marketing Specialist for Auclio. As some of you may already know, Auclio is the latest product by Unitfly. It's a no-code platform made to create business applications, all without coding. Today, we are going to talk about Auclio. We're going to talk about how it all started and why it all started. We will also walk you through the example app and show you the configuration behind it. Please note that this webinar is being recorded and that the screen recording will be shared with you afterwards in the follow-up of this webinar. Also, feel free to use the chat at the right of your screen. You can ask all the questions there, and we will address them during the Q&A session. I am joined today by Ivan Markovic, who is CEO of Unitfly and Auclio. He will give you the presentation and demonstration. So, Ivan, please join us on stage.
Here I am. Okay.
We can hear you.
Okay, perfect. Then, hi everyone. Helena, I would just need one confirmation from your end because I'm going to share the presentation and I'm going to put it in a presentation mode. Okay, so.
You're good to go.
Yes. Cool. Okay. So once again, hi everyone, and from my side as well. I'm Ivan Markovic, I'm co-founder and the CEO of the Unitfly, and I'm really happy that we are doing this webinar today. This is the first of kind that we are doing for the Auclio. And I'm happy that we have a chance to present what we've been working on for the last couple of years. Because for some of us that know what we do as a company, Auclio is something that we were, let's say, missing in previous years. And I'm really happy that we finally have something that can change also how the users interact with the mFiles, not just from the perspective of the extension kits and for what we are mostly known about automations that happen server side. So with that having said, we are creation-based mFiles partner and reseller. We've been working with the mFiles for last 10 years. We are not just mFiles reseller, but we are also mFiles solution partner, meaning that we do not only help our customers configure the mFiles and providing them with the support and technical and business assistance when it comes to the workflow automations within the mFiles, but we also do develop solutions on top of the mFiles. So we are mostly known by our flagship product called the Extension Kit Core, previously known as an extension kit. So you can see on this slide that we basically develop specialized low-code, no-code products that in some way enhance and extend mFiles capabilities. So extension kit and what I already said, something that happens.
Ivan, I will just pause you for a second because some of users are reporting that they can't see your presentation. So if you could please just reshare it once again.
We'll try. How about now? Okay, I can see. Okay, cool. Okay, so I will just go back one slide and just show you this one. So yeah, what I've been saying, you can just see the numbers behind the Unitfly. So basically 10 years of experience working with the mFiles. And then where I start is that we are known for the extension kit, and extension kits and the other add-ons that are part of the extension kit are basically add-ons that happen on the server side, meaning that you can automate a lot of different stuff on the mFiles In the backend of the M files, you can do advanced integrations with our suite of the products. And now finally, we have Auclio, which is something that changes how the end users interact with the M files. Okay, talking about that, we realized that in some cases, mFiles users do not find mFiles as a very straightforward and convenient, especially for the users that are non-technical and that do not plan to use mFiles every day. I'm just going to briefly explain you the story behind the Auclio and how we started developing it. So one of our customers, and I do really believe that this story will you will find some similarities with your products and your customers. So when we started with the Auclio, basically users wanted to have project management solutions on top of the mFiles. And we're talking about highly regulated industry, and mFiles brings a lot to the table. mFiles gives you a compliance layer. mFiles gives you amazing document management layer. mFiles gives you workflow capabilities, which means that you can automate the processes, especially the processes around the document management. And what really is amazing about the mFiles is the flexibility of the data model. So mFiles gives you an option to design the mFiles. It doesn't matter which industry, it doesn't matter which use case, you can design the mFiles and the entities with the classes and the properties, you can design them in any way you want. But customer wanted to have project management solution. And if we are talking about the project management solution, there are certain elements of the UI and the dashboards that end users want to see rather than going into the document management system or rather than going into the ERP, they want to have the project management tool. And that's their perspective. They don't want to learn about the mFiles views. They don't want to learn about the mFiles metadata. They don't want to learn about search classes, all the cool stuff about mFiles. But their perspective is that we are looking for we are looking for a project management solution. So end users basically expect to have a different interface through which they can interact with the business data, through which they can change the states of the workflow in the mFiles and everything that is happening in the mFiles. And they found mFiles user interface a bit complex. They don't want to spend a lot of time learning on how to work with the mFiles. Another thing is end users also want to have different views in terms of how they want to have information organized on the screen. So they would like to have maybe one screen, and on the left-hand side, they would like to have a list of tasks. On the right-hand side, they would like to see the details about the project. And then maybe at the bottom of the screen, they would like to see a list of the recent documents or activities they've been working on, or whatever they want to see when it comes to the project management. And then also we realized, and I already mentioned, not just about the mFiles, but basically any other enterprise tool that you bring to the table to the end users, it's another tool that they have to learn how to interact with. Maybe they have to go to the SAP for one piece of information, then they have to open the Excel file for something else. And then you give them an mFiles and told them, okay, here in the mFiles, you have to change something about your everyday work. And that's what we realized, and that is the one of the reasons why users may want to have a different UI on top of the mFiles. Talking about us as an mFiles reseller, and talking about us as an implementation specialist that does implementation of mFiles for the customers, we realized that there are and there always will be some platform boundaries. Those are not limitations, but there are certain ways how the platform is designed, how the platform is architectured to be changeable for the end users, and then you cannot do whatever you want, especially with the UI. One of the core ideas of why we started Unitfly and why we developed the extension kit and why we are talking about Auclio right now is that we don't want to do custom development. We realize that custom development slows down the implementations, and the time to value is something that is very, very critical for not just for the customers, but also for us as an implementation specialist. And then also, if you are a consultant and you build amazing solution, the real value is if users want to use it and if users find user experience satisfying and convenient in a way that they know how to work with. And when they know how to work with, they will be happy and in using your solution. So that's why we developed the Auclio information management platform that allows you to gather, view, and manage business information from different sources, and then to display them to end users in any way. And all that, the idea is that all you can achieve that without writing a single line of code. That's why it is called no code solution. So what is the idea behind the Auclio? Auclio gives you a flexible layer on top of the mfiles, giving you more control on how you want to display information from mfiles. You can go beyond mfiles. We are going to demonstrate this today as well. I forgot to mention I'm going to go through this PowerPoint, and then we will see the real example of how one solution can be configured in the Auclio. And I'm also going to show you that the data source for the Auclio does not have to be mfiles only. It can be the local data set within the Auclio, but in the future, you will be able to connect to other systems as well. And what I already said, the whole idea is that it is a no-code platform, meaning that you can build complete business apps without having to write a single line of code. Okay, so what is our value proposition? What are the benefits of Auclio and what Auclio brings to the end users? We bring simplified views. We bring them simplified onboarding because if we are able to display information in their context, they would immediately know how to interact with the system. And finally, and that is also a goal of the mfiles, how we can simplify the work, especially for the knowledge workers. When we are talking about us and you among participants today who are implementation specialists, faster development means that with a low code, you can get your projects delivered faster. If you give users something that they would know how to use, it would also mean that they would be more engaged with the solution. The more engaged the end users are with the platform means that more successful you were with the implementation. And finally, Auclio is a platform, which also means scalability. Scalability in a sense that you can expand and adapt solution based on the different business requirements that may change over time. So what are the core capabilities of Auclio? You can have custom data model. So the piece that we really like about mfiles is the flexibility of the data model, classes, and the metadata. The same applies here in the Auclio. You define your own data model, meaning that you define your data set with all the properties and the rules. Another important aspect is that you can create you can display information in a custom way using widgets. So we have added support for the tables, buttons, text grids, etc. We are adding new widgets. You will see some of our roadmap in the presentation later on. And the idea is that all the interface is built by drag and dropping different elements and connecting them in a final solution. Also, very important aspect is that we do have support for forms and wizards. You know that especially when we are talking about, for example, project management case in the mfiles, where you can have the different classes like the project, task, milestone, documents. And if you want to create all of those in the mfiles, you have to go like create new project, then create new milestone, then create a new task. So you always have to create one by one of each object type that you need. The idea in the Auclio is that you can basically create some wizards that guide users from beginning to end, and the final solution is something created in the mfiles. And also, what was our goal and very important piece of the solution is that it is cross-device compatible, meaning that you can you can change how the layout appears on a different screen sizes. So now I'm going to walk you through the key building blocks of the Auclio. The idea is that Auclio is standard multi-tenant application. And within each tenant, for example, for your organization, each tenant can have one or many applications. What we have added as a support, and there is a logic behind it, is that you can have internal applications, but you can also have external applications. Internal, external, in a sense that you can also have internal users and external users. I'm going to cover that a bit later on. And also what is the idea is, as well as in the mFiles, you can have the unlimited number of the vaults. In the Auclio, you can have unlimited number of applications. Now, when you create application, what you can do within your own application in the Auclio is that you can create a connection to the mFiles. So each application can have one or many connections. Here on the screen, you see one example of configuration where we have created a connection to specific mFiles vault. So we have used standard authentication mechanisms to connect to the mFiles vault. What happens then is that adapter and licenses are automatically generated, and the adapter is an mFiles application that you install on your mFiles vault, and adapter ensures that there is a two-way communication between mFiles and Auclio. The important piece here is that no configuration is needed on the mFile side. You can use the adapter as an application in the mFiles to monitor what's happening with communication. You can do some maintenance in sense of looking for the logs, what happens with the messages, if communication is working. So that's kind of the maintenance. There are pieces of functionalities that help you do the maintenance of the application, but in order to configure the solution in the Auclio, you don't have to go into mFiles. Then when you define this connection, you can use that connection to create a data set. So data sets, as I already said, data sets can be defined as a local ones, which will stay, the data that are part of this data set will stay in the Auclio only, or they can come from the external connection mFiles in our context. So each data set basically has a lot of similarities with the mFiles classes and the metadata. Dataset has a name, dataset has a list of properties, and dataset right now can define some file behavior. If you relate this to the mFiles, it is pretty much the same logic, like you can have like class and the metadata. Talking about the data sets that come from the mFiles, you basically select the class you want to get from the mFiles, and then you can do map of the properties that you want to fetch from mFiles. You don't have to get all the objects from the mFiles. You can also write filters and define what will be the scope of the data set that you're getting to the Auclio. So for example, if you have a list of projects in the mFiles, you may say, I don't want to get all the projects in the Auclio, but I only want to work with the subset of information in the Auclio, only projects that belong to specific department, for example. And then you map the properties like the metadata to the Auclio dataset, and you can then later on use it in widgets. We will come to that point. So the idea here is that each application have one or many datasets. What we also have added support for are the workflows. So workflows can also be defined as a local ones, or they can come from the mFiles. The difference is that if the workflow comes from the mFiles, you can see it as a read-only. As you can see on this screen, there are like all of them except the first one. They're all coming from the mFiles, and they all have label read-only, so you can visually see the workflow from the mFiles, and you can also create workflows within Auclio. So each application then can have one or many workflows. And talking about then the final piece of configuration when you actually want to design your solution, it is important to say that you can have within your tenant, you can have one or many applications. Each application can have one or many pages and sub pages. You can basically design a solution in a way that you can go from one page to another page in hierarchy. So you can define the hierarchy of the and the relationship between pages in a way that you want. And then on each page, you basically define how you would like to display the information. So here you have a list of available widgets. You can see that, for example, on the first screen, there are only 2 buttons. So you can have a page which basically have 2 buttons. And then when you click on a button, one button can take you to a page which shows a table and the cards. Another one can show you the form. It is up to you how you will design the application, and we are going to show this in demonstration. The idea is also that everything regarding the layout can be configured, and we have this grid system. So basically, you can drag and drop elements, resize them in a way that suit your needs. And also, as I already said, you can do that for different screens as well. We are going to show that later. I would also like to highlight how the permissions are constructed. So basically, you can have, as you would expect, you can have users in the groups. Group users you don't have to list them one by one. They can be part of the group. We can sync groups from the Active Directory. We can have the manually defined groups, property-based groups, etc. And then an access list holds like subjects, like the users or groups. And then you also, for each access list, basically define what behavior you want to allow to users, like read, modify, and delete. And finally, you associate access lists to the entity. So basically, you say, okay, this specific entity will have this access list. When we are talking about the entity, you can define access list to the application, to the data set, to the page, or to the widget. So it is very granular. It gives you an option to create a different solutions. You don't have to restrict users access to the whole data set, but you can restrict them access to specific page or specific widget on that page. So with the permissions, you can actually do a lot of stuff. And the identity management is basically designed in a way that you can use either built-in user and group management, or you may do this federated authentication in a sense that you can use the existing OpenID Connect or other identity providers, as well as to connecting to existing LDAP or Active Directory servers. So everything that you may want, all the way from the simple scenarios to the real enterprise cases. We have created this Getting Started with the Auclio 6-step guide. I do believe that it will be somewhere in the chat. If it's not already there, you will be able to download this guide, and just this guide walks you through the it's not just getting started guide, but also explaining the logic and how you can define those elements in the Auclio. Okay, now those were building blocks, and now I would just spend a minute or two talking about the key advantages. So there are some specific features of the Auclio that are not available in the other solution that are already in the market. So you can connect multiple vaults per rep. So you can have the several vaults can be connected to a single application, meaning that however you designed and defined your mFalse implementation, you can adjust it in the Auclio and use it in a different way. You can also display data from multiple sources, join them, and put them in a one widget, for example. So if you have 2 classes in the mFalse, you can display them in one table in the Auclio. UI that we develop and design, it's a modern, intuitive, and we really wanted to focus on usability and the visual experience. What I already said, and I'm going to highlight this once again, it is mobile responsive experience, meaning that it is optimized for all device types. Very nice feature of the Auclio is that once you something change in the M files, it will automatically be changed in the Auclio UI without users having to refresh the browser. Widgets are defined in a way that they're also clickable and actionable. You will see that in the table widget, for example, you can have file actions. In the table widget, you can have a column, which is basically URL to the next page. So if you have like a list of suppliers and you click on specific supplier, it can take you to the supplier data, etc. This is basically the way how you design and define the solution. Users can delete objects directly within the platform as well. The whole configuration is very simple, and I'm going to walk you through the one example. But the idea is that if you have a simpler configuration, that also means that time to build and time to value is reduced, and finally you have easier maintenance. So what we are currently working on, we are working on a chart. We want to redesign forms, auto properties, and what I already said, we are going to work on a different connectors, not just the M files as a connector. And if you have any requirement for the connector, you would like to have a custom connector in the Auclio, please let us know. And we can discuss what it actually means to the actual demo. I'm going to stop sharing PowerPoint, and now I'm going to share another screen, which hopefully will work this time. Share this window. Now let me see. Oh, yes. Okay, perfect. So I'm sharing the browser. Okay, so basically, this is the home screen of something that we call Playground. To not forget to mention later on, there will be a link also in the chat. If you would like to get access to the Playground, you would like to play around with Auclio, please let us know. What we have prepared for today's demonstration, we have one vault. So we have standard mfiles vault, which has some documents, cost centers, departments, projects, purchase requests, etc. And we have created a one application. So let's walk through this case from the end user perspective. So we have this procure to pay vault, which has some navigation on the left-hand side. I have some information here. So here I have some list of purchase requests. I can see that there is a one purchase request created by this user. I can add new object or a new object in the data set, but it will end up as an object in M files. So Auclio demo purchase request. And then for the requester, I can select some person here, let's say Kimberly Miller. I can define the date by which I want. So maybe you realize that from the navigation, but we are talking about some enterprise scenario where employees wants to create new purchase requests. Then purchase request needs to be approved. It goes to procurement department. Procurement department is going to create some kind of purchase order. And then finally, there's one example of how you can also give access to the suppliers and have this external application case within the Auclio. But basically, what I want to do here is just to create a new purchase request. So business justification, I need that, please. I can select some responsible person, and then you can, as you can see, it will automatically go to this purchase request workflow in the M files. I mentioned this briefly talking about when I was talking about the data sets, but we do have all the actions against the files as you would expect. So here I can upload the file as well, not just create an empty object in the M file. So I will just add this file here. I have defined that this dataset can have 4 files. and the max size is 10 megabytes. So this is designed and defined in the dataset configuration. If I click the add row here, you can see the document is created. What you can visually see as well is that some processing is happening. So once you see this information, it says like it's synced to the M files. So if I go to the M files, there are many things here, but there should be, yeah, so we have this Auclio demo purchase request, which I just created, and you can see some information here. So let me see what I'm displaying here on the table. So we have purchase, let's say like needed by date is 30th of June. So I can change this like in the M files to not be 30th of June. Let's say it will be like 10th of July. Once I've saved this information in the M files, when it's saved, this adapter, which I mentioned, which is installed on the M files vault, will basically send this information to the Auclio. So there is some processing here happening in the M files. Once this information is saved in the M files, it will be automatically changed here in the UI of the Auclio. Talking about information and the data set I'm going to show you later on as well. The idea is that you can choose which data types you want to work with. So if you change, if you want to work with the dates, if you want to work with the strings, if you want to work with value lists, everything can be configured. Let me just check what's happening here with the mfile side. But okay, so it's not changed in the M files, or yeah, I changed something, but I'm not sure if, no, let me change something else. Please, one more time. So you can work with basically any information. So I need that, please, one more time. Okay, so it is automatically changed here in the UI. And if I change the state, for example, in the M files, it will automatically be reflected here in the UI. So here, the object was created. If we have a table of like a list of the approvals, now I can have maybe different UI, even though it here looks similar. We have here like the concept of the master detail. So if I click on this Auclio demo PR, details of that request will be displayed here, and I can also change them in the UI here if that is something that is allowed through the configuration. So if I select Croatia site, this information will now be synchronized with the M files if everything is okay with the business rules that are defined. So if I go here in Croatia site, yeah, go to the M files, Croatia sites should be changed. And basically, so yeah, here you can see the cost center is changed to Croatia side, but you can also change states of the workflow. So as I already said, the workflows are synchronized with the Auclio, meaning that you can see here that it is under superior approval. What I can do, you don't have to go to the, we call this like text grid widget. You don't have to change information there, but you can change it right here in the table. I can select approve and send. You can see that this information is now automatically synced with the M files, and there are no requests that need to be approved. If I, for example, go to this procurement view, here they can see the list of all the approved purchase requests, and they can see all the details about them. If they select one, they can go here to the files and they can see this sample document that was uploaded. So you can also preview the files here. If they are allowed to by the definition in the Auclio, they can download file, they can replace file, etc. And then you can have something like a list of suppliers. And then if you select, for example, if you select one supplier, it will automatically take you to another page, which is supplier page. And then this page can display some different information. As you can see here, it's just a bunch of widgets added here. You can have like the values that stick as a footers, and you can have headers and the footers as well. So basically, it is fully up to you how you would like to interact with the application and how you would like to design the solution. Um, I don't want to go into too many details about this specific case from the end users. Maybe I would just mention that users can also change some settings on their end. So users can change how the solution will appear in their sense. They can change the font size, font family. They can change how the navigation will appear, if it's going to be on the left-hand side or top side. They can also change their regional settings in a way how they want to display dates, time, etc. Okay, now this is from the end user perspective, and then if you would like to change this and change the behavior of the application from the end users, you can go in the edit mode, let's call it. And the great thing about the Auclio is that all the editing happens within the same interface and some same application. So how you basically start with is basically you start with creating a new application. When you get the access to the playground, you will already have your own application. But here, this is how you can create a new application, like new sample application. You give the application name and description. You can upload your own logo, or you can choose something from the picker. And then when you click create, new sample application is created, and you get access to fully blank page, fully blank application. And then if you are admin, you will see this enable layout edit mode. And if I do that, let me just keep the tour. If I do that, I will be able to add a new page. So from here, basically, I can create a new page. I won't do that from this screen. Let me go back to this already configured application, because here we already have something that we can, something more specifically that we can look at. So if I enable layout edit mode here, I can add child page to this one, or I can edit this page. So if I go edit page, I can do some kind of like passing the parameters, changing the icon and stuff like that. But let me show you piece of application settings. So basically, here are some general settings of application, which I already mentioned, and there is a connection, and this connection is created. As I already said, you can go to create connection, define the connection name. You can specify the mFiles vault ID, which is not going to pass here as it's not valid ID, but you will get access to your own connection to the mFiles. And you will get access to adapter and licenses. Now, taking a look at the data sets, here we can see all the data sets that we fetched from the mFiles. Basically, you can see the name of the data set, when it's created, when it's last modified. You can see where it actually used across the pages and other data sets. You can see if this data set can support or does it support files or not. And you can see total number of the objects in the data set. As already mentioned, the whole maintenance and the logs and how you trace and monitor what's happening in Auclio is developed in a way that you can easily monitor everything. So if you have like these, let's say, I don't know, vendors or something like purchase requests, if you go to the manage objects, all the objects will be listed here. So you can see them from the administration point of view, not as end users at some page. If I go, for example, to view refresh history, you will see exactly what was happening with this data set. Now, we can maybe create a new local data set. Let me create something like, let's create a new data set. I'm going to create this. If I select this as an external connection, I would be able to select an mFiles. When I select the mFiles, I would be able to map all the properties from the mFiles. For this purpose, just to make it more simple, I will just create a new data set, which would be called project. And then I can define properties. I already said all the different data types are supported, so I can have something like project name. You can have as complex as you want, so your data set can have as many properties as you need. Let's go with something like project name and project ID, which is very very simple case. You can specify if it's required, read-only, or unique. Let's define that all are required, and ID should be unique. Then I can also say if the dataset projects would have files or not. I can say that, okay, I will allow one file for each project, and then I can specify, or I can limit which file types are supported here. And finally, once this dataset is created, I can manually add objects here. For example, if you're creating some value lists, you can easily define value lists here. So now I created one dataset. Maybe I also want to create a new workflow. So I can say like project workflow and create a new one. I'm not going to design all the solution. Let's leave it just like that. But maybe we can check one purchase order, for example. And this is workflow from the M files. As you can see, this is just a preview of the workflow, and this workflow is read only here in the Auclio. Okay, so I have created one data set. Let's add new page. So I'm going to add a new page, project page. And then what I can do is something like, I'm not sure what should represent project, but something like that, okay? And I'm just going to create this page here in the UI. This project page is now here. And what I can do is here I can add a new widget. So if I go to the add new widget, I can add, I can add text, table, text grid, form, button, card, and charts are coming soon. So if I click table, I can select like list of projects. And here I can select, I would say, everything that you would want from the tables, like if it's going to have a sidebar or not, if it's going to have a group bar or not. If you want to have the AI assistant, so we have an AI assistant that allows you to do the sorting, filtering, and basically you can set different configurations of the table using the AI assistant, not from the admin perspective, but from the end user perspective. So you can say, give me all the projects that started in the previous year. It will be applied as a filter if there is a start date as a property in the data model. So here I can select if I want to allow users to add new objects through the table. If I say yes, I can choose if I want to have this as a model pop-up, like I show you, or it will be added as a new row in a table. Some settings about column sizing, display options, etc. I'm not really going to into all the details. And now I'm going to basically, as I can select this use external connection. So I can select external connection and get all the data sets from the external connection, or I can select local ones. So let's select the project. Here is the piece that I mentioned. You can add different joins. So you can join different data sets into one. I'm not going to do that. And then I can do automap dataset. So automap dataset will basically get all the properties from the dataset and put it into the table. I may want to get rid of the workflow and the state, reorder this in any way I want. Let's leave it like that. Maybe I can also show you that project name, for example, can be defined as a link, and then link can point to another page. So if I have, for example, project details page, I would be able to link it here. I'm not going to overcomplicate this demonstration. Tables can also have different filters, so you don't have to filter the data set when you're getting it from the mfiles, but you can also filter it on specific table. For each column, you specify how you want this column to behave. And finally, you define file management. So if your data set allows files and projects allow files, you can select if you want to have side panel, if you want to have upload, delete, download, preview, or you would like to have a file column here. Let's say I want to have file column and leave it like preview or whatever, upload. And then here I can define some labels. So I'm just trying to simplify that as much as possible. So now in the UI, I have one table. So, okay. And now maybe I want to add a button, which would be like create new project. And then this button will be like create. Okay, like this. And this button should go to page. And now I'm just going to link it. It doesn't matter. I'm going to link it with the new supplier. It really doesn't matter. I can show you how it actually works from the new supplier page. But if I add a new button here, button will be added. So, and I can select the position of this button. So this gives me an option to like do it, resize it in a way that I want. And I can also adjust it, as I said, on a mobile or on tablet, desktop, large or extra large screens. I can choose how this application is going to be displayed. Okay. Now I have this button, and if I click create new page, it will take me to a new supplier. So this is what I configured. Maybe I can, if I just show you this supplier database here, if I go to the layout edit mode, I can show you how to edit a widget. And here you can see that if I go to edit widget, I should be able to see column, which is a link, vendor is a link. And if I open the details, basically the logic is that you have column, which is clickable in a form of a link. It links to the supplier page, and there are some parameters that you can pass to the next page. And that is the logic. You select something in the table, you pass the parameters or details of that to another page. And then on another page, you use this parameter to show only the documents of this supplier, on information of supplier, etc. Okay. If I click here on details, I can have something like that display here. And that is the idea. Basically, you define the data set, you add the widgets, you play around with the layout, you drag and drop different elements, and you define how users actually interact with your application. Maybe just to show you one more thing, if I go to this project page, for all of those widgets that we have created, there are different set of actions you can specify. So if I select a card will have different pieces of configuration because card shows some static information in the UI. Maybe if I go here, like here, you can see that this text is defined here. Maybe it should be like this, or this should be like that. It doesn't matter. If I go to the edit widget, I can change how this card is actually displayed here. The idea is also what we have added as a support, that once you define the widget, you can have linked widgets. So you can configure the table of projects with certain behavior and certain rules on one page, and then you can have it linked and displayed in many different pages. And then when you change the configuration of one on a table on one page, it will automatically reflect on all the other pages. You can also move widgets, copy widgets, so all the actions that you would expect if you want to customize the UI. Okay, this leaves us with 10 more minutes, which I would like to take for your questions. So I'm going to stop sharing screen for now, and then Helena, if you can join me on a stage, and let's see if we.
Okay, thank you, Ivan. So now we are going to answer your questions. Feel free to add your questions now. Before that, I just want to go back to the playground that Ivan mentioned. So you'll be able to ask for the access to our playground. I will share it now with you. It will be on the bottom left of your screen. I think you can see it now. So basically, you can leave your email address and our team will get back to you with the login information to that playground. We will prepare one application for you where you can try to build something on your own, and you will also see the events application he was just showing. So you can see how the configuration was done there. If some of you already have an idea how you would like to use Auclio, you can also answer on the second question of that form and share some of your ideas. If not, it doesn't matter, just share the email and we will get back to you soon with your login information. So you have it on the left of your screen. I will also put it in chat, the link to the playground. Okay, feel free to add more questions. We already have some, so we can start with them. Okay, the first question was, what are the licensing implications between Auclio and mFiles?
There are no any, I would say there are no any implications. So,
Um,
can you hear me? So I think that we lost Helena, but hopefully you can hear me. There are no licensing implications as such. Auclio is currently we are in the process of validation for the mFiles cloud, and the way how the configuration is done is basically you install the Vault application framework app on the mFiles Vault, and that's it. So all the communication is always going from the mFiles to the Auclio. So in a sense, we are sending the data using VAF to the Auclio. There are no restrictions when it comes to which tier of the mFiles you're using. So as long as you have the access to your Vault in a way that you can install a VAF adapter, you can use that. You can use it. Hopefully that answers the question. Okay, can you import the data to the Auclio dataset from a CSV file? Not yet, but we are currently working on that. If there is and for those who work with us on the extension kit and other related products, you know how we operate. If something is not yet supported in the platform, and you need that for your customer, and you want us to reprioritize our backlog, please do let us know. But I can confirm you that import from the CSV file is in our roadmap, and hopefully you will get access to it soon. Is Auclio user license based, and do you need an external mFiles connector license as well? So now we are going into my interpretation of the mFiles licensing, but the mFiles licensing clearly states that external connector licenses are used when you have external application connecting to the mFiles via API. So if you have external application that reads data via API and send data to the API, then from the license perspective, yes, you would need that. Auclio, on the other hand, is, as I already said, is designed in a way that we are only using Vault application framework, meaning that all the communication is done from the mFiles. So Auclio is basically never asking anything through the mFiles REST API. But of course, just to add it here, this is the mFiles licensing policy, and for every case, you always have to ensure that from the licensing perspective, you are aligned with the mFiles, which is also hopefully that I answered your question.
Yes, so while we conclude, maybe we will have time for a few more questions. So if something is left unanswered, feel free to add. Also, if any follow-up questions arise, I will leave you our email address here in chat. And to repeat, the recording and all these resources will be sent in the follow-up. And with that, I want to thank you all. I think no more questions appeared. Thank you again for joining, and we will keep in touch. So, one more.
We have 500 external users, 5 internal users. There are no technical limitations as such, and commercial wise as well. So, yep.
Okay, so we had the small technical issues here. We were not hearing you well when I was on the stage, but everything is now good. So once again, I hope the questions were answered. And now we will conclude today's sessions. And thank you again, and have a great rest of the day.
Yep. Thank you, everyone, and please let us know if you are questions.